She said, "Don't overreact." That was her first response when I asked about the message. Just 4 words. Calm. Dismissive. Like I was being dramatic. Like asking your girlfriend why a coworker is sending her flirty emojis at midnight was some kind of character flaw. "It's just dancing," she said. "It's harmless. We're all just blowing off steam after work. Everyone's going." I asked her why she didn't mention the party until the night before. She shrugged, said she forgot, then gave me that look, like I was supposed to feel guilty for even bringing it up. Her name was Brooke, and for most of our relationship, she made me feel like I had to apologize for caring. Like if I noticed something off, it was my problem, not hers. And for too long, I played along. I trusted her, or at least I tried to, until trust became a game she played better than me. The message that changed everything wasn't even meant for me. Came through because she forgot to log out of our shared cloud. Her phone was connected to our iPad at home, the one we used to stream movies on weekends. She had no idea, so when I opened it to queue up a playlist, I saw it. A voice note, her voice, sent to someone named Brandon. It started casual, laughing, tipsy. Then came the line that cracked everything open. "I know it's wrong, but I wish he'd just kiss me already." 10 words. That's all it took to burn down 4 years of loyalty. I didn't react right away. I didn't call her. I didn't send a screenshot. I didn't say a word. I listened to it twice, 3 times. Then I closed the iPad, stood in the middle of our living room, and let the silence wrap around me like it had so many times before. But this time, it wasn't loneliness. It was clarity. This wasn't the first red flag. It was just the first one she couldn't hide. The party she was going to wasn't just a dance. It was her company's end-of-year event. Flashy lights, open bar, rooftop vibes. She said it was mandatory fun. I told her to enjoy it. She kissed me on the cheek and left like nothing was broken. Like there wasn't a recording of her wishing another man would kiss her floating through our home network. But what she didn't know is that I wasn't going to sit at home that night wondering what was happening. I showed up, not dressed to blend in, not looking to cause a scene, just a plain black hoodie, jeans, and one goal: truth. I waited until the dance floor was full, until the drinks had been flowing long enough for people to loosen up, until she was right in the center, dancing like she hadn't said what she said, like nothing lived in that voice note but laughter. And then I made my move. I walked straight past the bar, up the small stairs that led to the DJ booth. The guy was cool, young, didn't ask questions when I slipped him a crisp bill and leaned in close. I showed him the file on my phone, played 3 seconds through a small speaker. "Can you drop this instead of the next track?" I asked. He grinned. "Oh, we're doing that tonight?" I said, "Just press play. You'll know when." Then I stepped back, into the crowd, into the shadows, and waited. The music cut. People slowed, confused at first. A few laughs. Some thought it was a skit. And then her voice hit, crystal clear. "I know it's wrong, but I wish he'd just kiss me already." Every syllable echoed through the room. Loud, unfiltered. Her tone playful, flirty, unmistakably not innocent. I started turning, head swiveling. The laughter died, and she, Brooke, froze, in the center of the floor, hands half-raised, smile flickering, as if time had split her in two. She turned slowly, scanning the crowd, and then she saw me, leaning against the exit, phone in hand, smiling, not angry, not yelling, just finished. She didn't move at first, just stood there, frozen in the middle of the dance floor like a spotlight had landed on her and she forgot the steps. People around her started whispering, pulling out their phones, asking each other what they just heard. Some were laughing. Others looked uncomfortable. One guy, the tall one in the gray button-down, took a step back from her like guilt might be contagious. And then her eyes locked on mine. Not with anger, not even fear, just pure disbelief. Like she couldn't comprehend the fact that I had turned her own voice into the headline of the night. I didn't flinch. I didn't move. I let it sit. Let the silence that followed wrap around her tighter than the music ever had. Eventually, the DJ, looking half panicked and half thrilled. Cleared his throat and restarted the next track. But the mood had changed. The beat dropped, but the energy didn't come back. People were still staring. A few co-workers looked away quickly when she tried to make eye contact. One girl shook her head and walked toward the bar like she wanted to get as far away from the moment as possible. Brooke finally started moving, pushing past dancers and lights, making a beeline straight toward me. She reached me at the edge of the room, breath sharp, voice low and sharp. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I raised an eyebrow. "Me? You embarrassed me," she snapped. "You humiliated me in front of everyone." I tilted my head. "No, I didn't embarrass you. You did. I just pressed play." She went quiet. For a second, her jaw clenched like she was trying to find the right spin. Then she tried the classic move, the denial. "It wasn't even serious. I was joking. That message wasn't what it sounded like." But the thing about audio is you can't twist it. You can't reframe tone. Her voice was clear, unmistakable. There was no context that could soften what she said. And more than that, she knew it. She was just hoping I was still the same guy who used to believe every line she fed me. "I trusted you," I said calmly. "You said it was nothing. You said I was overreacting. You looked me in the eye and told me it was innocent. But your voice said everything else." She opened her mouth again, probably to beg or explain or blame the drinks or say it didn't mean anything. But I wasn't there for explanations. I didn't need closure. I already had it. I turned to leave. She grabbed my arm. "Don't walk away like this." I looked down at her hand. "You already did." And I walked out, down the stairs, past the valet, into the night air that felt cooler than it should have, and cleaner than I remembered. I didn't check behind me to see if she followed. I knew she wouldn't. Not right away. Her world was cracking in slow motion behind me, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like the one trying to hold it together. The ride home was quiet. I didn't turn on music. Didn't call anyone. Just let the silence settle in. At home, I opened my messages. There they were, 3 unread from Brooke already. Message 1, "We need to talk." Message 2, "You're blowing this out of proportion." Message 3, "It didn't mean anything. I was just drunk." I didn't reply. I didn't delete them either. I let them sit there, unanswered, like a digital echo of everything she used to say to cover her tracks. And then I blocked the number. I got up the next morning and went for a run. I hadn't run in weeks. But that morning I needed to move, to feel my legs hitting the ground, to remind myself that life didn't end with a breakup, or a voice note played in a room full of people. As I ran past storefronts and traffic lights and half-sleeping city blocks, I thought about all the times I made excuses for her, all the red flags I downplayed, the nights she came home late and brushed off my questions with a kiss and a joke, the text messages from co-workers that read like romantic comedy scripts, the slow fade of affection replaced by guilt-tripping and gaslighting. And still I stayed, until I didn't, until one voice note gave me the final proof I needed. I didn't get revenge. I just gave the truth a microphone. After the run, I came home to more silence. No phone buzzing. No apology at the door. But I knew that wouldn't last. Brooke had always been the kind of person who hated loose ends. Not because she wanted to make things right, but because she couldn't stand not being in control of the narrative. So I wasn't surprised when, by noon, I had 3 DMs on Instagram, a long email titled, "Please read this," and a voicemail that began with her crying and ended with her blaming me. The email was a mess. Lines about how the voice note wasn't what it sounded like. Claims that nothing actually happened, and that I'd ruined her life by making it public. That I could have handled it like an adult. That I didn't need to humiliate her. And the best part? Somewhere in the middle, she wrote, "You still mattered to me. Still. Like I was some quiet relic she kept in a drawer. Something she could take out when she wanted to feel safe, then tuck away when something more exciting walked by." I didn't reply. What was there to say? She'd already said everything. In her voice. With her words. I just gave people the chance to hear them too. A few friends who'd been at the party messaged me too. Not all of them took sides. Some just said, "Damn, man." One said, "I hope you're okay." Another said, "Honestly, we always knew something was off." That one hit different, because it made me realize how often people can sense when something's wrong, even if they never say it. How many times had I laughed through awkward glances at dinners? How often had I convinced myself I was overthinking when I was just right too early? Later that night, I got a call from someone I didn't expect. Emily, one of Brooke's closest friends. She and I had always gotten along, even though she kept her distance from our relationship drama. This time, though, she didn't waste time with small talk. She told me everything, she said. "I just want you to know. You did the right thing." I didn't know how to respond. I didn't feel like a hero. I wasn't proud of what I did. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't smile because it was fun. I smiled because it was final. There's a difference. "She's been doing this for a while," Emily continued. "Not just with Brandon. There were others. I told her she'd lose you. She didn't listen. She didn't think I'd leave," I said quietly. Emily paused. "Well, now she knows." That was the last conversation I had about it. I muted Brooke on every app, blocked her number, and set all our shared photos into a private folder. Not because I wanted to keep them, but because I needed to move them out of sight. I wasn't going to pretend like she never existed, but I wasn't going to carry her forward into a future that no longer belonged to her. Took a few weeks to feel normal again. I started doing small things, cooking for myself, cleaning the apartment without hearing her in the background talking on speakerphone to friends, reading at night. Slowly it stopped hurting. Not because I forgot, but because I understood. She didn't leave because I wasn't enough. She crossed a line because she thought I'd never draw one. And when I finally did, she panicked. Not because she missed me, but because she lost control of the story. The one where she gets to dance while I wait quietly at home. The one where she flirts behind my back but still gets to be the innocent one. The one where I don't overreact. But this time, I wrote the ending. A month passed. That's usually the window, right? When the dust settles, when the gossip dies down, when people stop whispering and start forgetting. But not this time. The voice note didn't just fade. It got shared. Someone had recorded it, probably from the moment the DJ played it, and uploaded it anonymously. Nothing in the caption, no context, just a file titled "She Thought No One Heard." I found out through a friend at work who messaged me with a link and a single word. Brutal. The clip didn't take long to circulate. It hit TikTok, Reddit, one of those drama threads where people eat up stories of real-world betrayal like it's entertainment. The audio wasn't crystal clear, but it didn't need to be. Her voice came through just fine. That one sentence. Over and over. "I know it's wrong, but I wish he'd just kiss me already." People didn't know her name. They didn't know it was Brooke. But they knew the feeling, the moment, the sting. And the comments, hundreds of them, were all versions of the same thing. He did what she never expected. He gave her the truth instead of forgiveness. He let her hear herself the way he had to. At first, I felt exposed. I didn't want attention. I didn't want people turning my private heartbreak into content. But the more I read, the more I realized something. I wasn't alone. There were guys and girls in those comments who'd been in my shoes, who had let red flags slide, who had swallowed doubt until it choked them, who had begged for honesty and got gaslight instead. And now, they were cheering. Not because it was messy, but because it was real. But not everyone was silent. Brooke messaged again. This time from a backup account I didn't recognize at first. No profile photo. No name. Just a single message. "You've ruined me." Then another. "I hope it was worth it." I didn't respond. Because I didn't ruin her. She ruined us. I just stopped covering for it. And the truth? That was worth everything. A few weeks later, I ran into someone unexpected at a bookstore. Brandon. Yeah, that Brandon. The same guy from the voice note. He looked different in daylight. Smaller somehow. Not physically, but in presence. Like he knew who he was and what part he'd played. He saw me, paused, then walked over. I didn't move. "Hey," he said. I didn't know. I nodded once. Didn't know what? That she was serious. that she was with someone, that you were you. I looked him in the eye. She was serious. Until she wasn't. He rubbed the back of his neck. She told me you were just drifting. Said things were ending. I smiled, but it wasn't kind. She was right. Things were ending. She just didn't know how fast. He didn't try to defend himself after that. Just nodded and walked away. Maybe he expected a punch. Maybe he expected a scene. But I had already played the loudest thing I needed to. Now, I was just living. That night, I sat on my balcony with a cup of coffee and played that same voice note one last time. Just for me. Not to hurt. Not to hate. But to remember. And after it ended, I deleted it. From my phone. From the cloud. From everything. Because I didn't need it anymore. The memory wasn't in the sound. It was in the silence that followed. It's strange how something that once felt like the end of your world eventually becomes just another story. Something you can talk about without flinching. Something you can even laugh at, in that quiet, healed way that comes when time finally does its job. That night on the dance floor used to live in my head every second. I used to replay the look on her face, the silence, the moment the audio cut through the lights like a knife. But now it's just the day I stopped being a character in someone else's lie and started becoming the author of my own truth. Brooke didn't message again. At least not directly. But I saw the trail. Anonymous posts. Subtle subtweets. The kind of cryptic captions you know are meant for you even when they don't say your name. Things like, some people only know how to destroy, or silence doesn't mean guilt. I didn't bite. I didn't comment. Because when you've already said everything that matters, there's nothing left to explain. She moved to another city eventually. I only know because a mutual friend mentioned it in passing, like it was a weather report. Did you hear Brooke's in Atlanta now? And I just nodded. Said nothing. There was nothing to feel. No satisfaction. No sadness. Just space where pain used to live. And in that space something new grew. I met someone. It wasn't dramatic or sudden or perfect. Started slow. Real. With coffee and conversation and no performance. Her name's Julia. She doesn't play games. Doesn't flinch when I ask questions. Doesn't make me feel small for wanting clarity. The first time I told her what happened, with the voice note, the DJ, all of it, she didn't say, wow. She just said, you deserved better. And for the first time, I actually believed it. We built something different, something honest. We don't pretend not to have pasts, but we don't drag them into every room, either. We let them stay where they belong, behind us. Every once in a while, someone asks me if I regret what I did that night. If I regret playing that voice message in front of a crowd. And here's what I say. No, because if I hadn't played it for them, I might have never heard it clearly for myself. Sometimes it takes turning the volume all the way up to realize how loud the lies have been. And sometimes, the only way to get out of the dark is to shine a light no one expects. So if you're in that space right now, sitting in silence, doubting what you feel, wondering if it's all in your head, listen closely. Pay attention. People who have nothing to hide don't get angry when you ask for honesty. And people who value you don't make you feel crazy for trusting your gut. To everyone who's ever been made to feel like they were overreacting, you weren't. You were just the only one brave enough to see things for what they really were. Drop a comment if you've ever been in that place. Caught between silence and truth. I read everything. And if you want more stories like this, real ones that don't pull punches, hit that subscribe button. Because sometimes the most powerful sound in the world is simply pressing play.